Welcome to Catholic Education Matters, the podcast that celebrates the beauty of Catholic education, highlighting excellence in academics, athletics, and the transformative power of faith. Join us as we share the stories of those making a lasting impact on Catholic education. Let's begin. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us here for Catholic Education Matters. My name is Troy Van Vliet, and I am with St. John Paul II Academy Foundation as the board chair. And today, I am really excited to have with us Sandra Marshall from the CISVA. CISVA standing for the Catholic Independent Schools of the Vancouver Archdiocese. That's a mouthful.
Right, or CISVA.
Or CISVA, yes. And Sandra is the superintendent of CISVA. So for the last couple of years now.
Year and a half now.
Okay, year and a half. So welcome, Sandra. Can't
Thank
wait
you.
to have a chat with you about what you do and let everybody know a little bit more about Catholic education. And to start out, tell us a little bit more about how long have you been with CISVA for?
Well, I've been with the CISVA since 1990. So do the math. What's that? 35 years?
Yeah. Ooh, it's a
long time.
It's a good run.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking of actually, because you kind of pointed out you wanted to hear about my journey within the CISVA.
Yeah.
And so as I was thinking about that, I thought what brought me to the CISVA, which could resonate with other people out there,
Sure.
Because I began my career a long time ago, actually in the 70s, as a public school teacher. So I taught in Richmond Public and decided once our children started coming, I wanted to stay at home. So I did that for 13 years. Mm-hmm. And so when I was ready to come back to teaching, actually didn't know too much about the Catholic schools in Vancouver. Public school teaching back then, you could actually say the Our Father every morning, a Bible reading. I don't know if people actually know that. So by the 80s, that was discontinued.
Yep.
And in the 80s, again, while I was at home with our three sons, and our oldest son was ready to go into kindergarten, was doing a bit of homework, where do we want to send him, and thinking public school. And my next door neighbor just happened to be out in her backyard one day, as was I, and over the back fence, she was telling me about this wonderful Catholic elementary school in Ladner. I live in Tsawwassen. Hadn't even thought of that. So I always think about that conversation with Mary, and what a good name, over the back fence that actually brought me to the CISVA. So started out as a parent. All of our sons then followed our oldest into Sacred Heart. And by the time our oldest, I was ready to go back. He was in grade 7, youngest now in kindergarten, ready to go back to teach. Because my husband kept saying, "You're going to go back to work one day, dear." And I felt at that point it was the right time to go, as our youngest was then going into kindergarten. And as kind of the Holy Spirit at work, there was a teaching position at that school.
At Sacred Heart.
At Sacred Heart. So I actually taught 2 of our 3 sons while I was there, which was amazing, to be the mom and the teacher. So we kind of went off to work together every morning. And then they left me when they went off to high school, and they continued to St. Pat's Regional, which was actually 2 buses and a walk. So we're talking pretty well an hour and a half each way.
Wow.
But we were so committed to Catholic education at that point that there was just no question that they would continue through to grade 12 in one of our Catholic high schools. So yes, my career started out as a grade 7 teacher at that school.
Yeah.
And then at some point decided wanted to be a principal. So I would say probably 9 of the best years of my life was spent at St. Mary's Elementary in Vancouver as the principal there.
Okay.
And so at that point, we're talking 2003, went to the superintendent's office. So if you're doing the math, that's about 20 years now. I always thought I could never stay in a job, maybe the same grade level, same school for maybe more than, 5-8 years.
Yep.
So why did I last 18 years? That's a good question.
Yeah.
I just found that no 2 years were ever alike. There was just always new challenges and excitement of serving our 46 schools. I was in the role of Associate Superintendent of Ed Services, so I figured I had the best job of all because I got to plan all the professional development for our staff, principals, teachers, even education committee members, pastors. It was a great job. So I actually went to retire in 2022. So retirement was the plan. My husband had retired the year before, and I was going to join him. And I don't know, about that time, I saw a movie. It was an Oscar winner that year, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
No, I haven't.
Well, the main character, Evelyn, is kind of living in two universes simultaneously. And I felt a bit like that when I took this position, again, after a couple of months of preparing for retirement, then did apply for superintendent, feeling that I was being led a bit by the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And so I've been in this job for a year and a half. But I feel that somewhere out there, Sandra Marshall might also be enjoying her retirement.
Okay.
And people ask me, I'd say the thing that surprised me the most about being a superintendent after being in the office for so many years, thinking that maybe there wouldn't be any surprises, is that I actually feel like a principal again. I feel like kind of the principal of principals of our 46 schools. So it's bringing me a lot of joy. I don't know, as none of us know what next week, next month, next year holds. But I'd say for now, I feel like I'm in the right place and doing what I can to support our schools.
Yeah. So that's amazing. So I didn't.
That was a mouthful. Sorry, Troy.
No, that's fantastic.
You got me started.
I didn't know. It's really refreshing to hear your whole journey in terms of in Catholic education, starting elementary school, high school. No, you didn't. Yes.
No, it was
St.
elementary.
Mary's, elementary all the way up.
Yeah.
And then
and as a parent. And now a grandparent,
yeah,
actually a grandchild in one of our schools. So
Sacred Heart?
Holy Cross
Holy
in
Cross
Burnaby.
in Burnaby.
I know that
Okay.
feels like a shameless plug for some of our schools, but
no.
they're all special.
This whole podcast is a shameless plug for Catholic education. So.
Good. Well, I love the title, Why Catholic Education Matters. Don't get me started.
It does. Well, it matters. And
Or do get me started.
And the different matters that arise, because there are so many different aspects, so many wonderful things to talk about, and there's so many challenges as well. And you are in the position, the overseer of all the Catholic schools, because there's over 50 in total.
46 plus 6 affiliates.
That's what I meant, including the affiliate schools too as well. So,
but of course, we don't have any governance authority over the 6 affiliates. So for me, it's our 46 CISVA, 40 elementary, 6 high schools.
So we still work together.
We sure do.
Yes.
And we have principals meetings monthly.
Yes.
And often the principals of the affiliate schools join our principals. Right. And yes, we do look at ourselves as one big, happy Catholic family on a good day.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about that just for a second. So the affiliate schools.
Yes.
What defines an affiliate school? Why are they there?
Well, I'm learning because I are each of the affiliate schools. Do you want me to name them?
Sure.
So St. Thomas More, Little Flower Academy, Vancouver College, St. John Paul II Academy, JP2, and TLA.
TLA,
and
yes.
I'm leaving out one.
Yeah, there's another one. Yes.
Vancouver College, Little Flower, BC.
Okay. We won't torture you with that.
No, please. But
okay.
I'm going to pay for that.
Yeah, that's okay. Where
the seminary. Actually, the seminary has a high school.
Yes,
and it is considered an affiliate school.
Yes.
So in 2020, up till 2020, affiliate schools, congregational schools, number of titles, terms to kind of define those schools. A lot of verbal kind of agreements. This is the way you operate as a Catholic school within the Archdiocese with the permission of the Archbishop.
Right.
So in 2020, then the superintendent, Deacon Hank, along, of course, with the Archbishop, actually put some things in writing. Yeah. And so they are referred to as affiliate agreements. Yes. And they're actually coming up for renewal by September 2025.
Yes.
So it certainly explains what affiliation with the Archdiocese, the Archbishop, but also the relationship with CISVA.
Yes, exactly. So, which is great to talk about right now, because there's a lot of people that have asked, with SJP2 as well. It's like, so what are you CISVA school? Are you not a CISVA school? Well, we're CISVA affiliate school. Basically, we operate the same way. We have a different a different governance structure, the
Right.
way it's set up.
Yeah.
But other than that, we operate the same way as the CISVA
And
schools
again,
do.
we're all part of the family.
Yeah.
That diversity within a family is
Yep.
a good thing. And I think we're coming to something about parental choice, the inalienable rights of our parents
Yes.
and that, just the right of the parents to make those choices for their children. And
Yeah.
people can decide that, whether it's a Catholic school
Yep.
and or other independent schools in the province as well.
For sure. So speaking of independent schools, just generally speaking, it's funny, our school has a Facebook site. And right now, it's open for comments, like people can make comments. So we're trying to promote the school more and more and more. And some of the comments we get are a little bit questionable at times. And some of them are, if this is another elitist school because he got to pay tuition to go there. Comments like that, or why does the government support independent schools for elites and things like that? We don't think it's a waste of government money. It should be going to the public system. When reality is that the independent schools are a relief on the government spending.
Save money,
They
50%.
save money, 50%. Now, that's just the operational side, the day-to-day operational side of the school. That has got nothing to do with the infrastructure of the school in paying.
No capital.
We have over $100 million project that we're putting together with SJP2 right now under construction.
Take a deep breath.
And that the government pays nothing for. So they didn't have to buy the land, they don't have to build the building, they don't have to maintain the building, they don't have to do any of that. And they give 50% of what a public school would operate on as towards our operations annually. So this nets out the government, which at the end of the day is our taxpayer. It's a positive net benefit for the public.
And FISA, the Federation of Independent Schools Association, which actually is located in our office, in our building here at the JP2 Pastoral Center.
I didn't know that.
It'd be great to have a conversation with Sean Chisholm, their president of FISA.
Yeah.
They do such good work in that realm of supporting independent schools, being an advocate with Ministry of Education and Childcare. Yeah. But it's interesting in terms of monies for capital. I think about how the ministry is now providing funds for childcare centers that happen to be in independent schools.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that might be an area we can exert some pressure. Well, you're paying for part of an infrastructure for childcare.
Yeah.
Why not for a K-12? So that might be an area that we could pursue.
Could be.
But,
it could be. Now, is there... to be quite frank, like we have a little bit more leeway we teach the BC curriculum.
Yes.
But we kind of have a little bit more leeway as to how the schools operate.
Right.
And our policies and what have you, being an independent school. The more we rely on government funding, may we potentially be giving up some of that
autonomy?
Yes.
Well, that's always the fear of exceeding the 50%. Now, you realize some of the... And we all have our pet peeves, our triggers.
Yep.
I hate independent schools referred to as private schools.
Yeah.
We are independent schools. There are 364 independent schools in the province of BC. So in terms of FISA, the federation, they have the majority of independent schools are in FISA, not all. And so in terms of groups of schools, we're a group 1, we get 50%. A group 2 school would get 35%. So why that? Because they spend more than the public school in that district would spend.
Right.
So we always have to be aware of our schools are located in 14 different public school districts. So we need to be aware of what are the schools spending in relationship to those public schools.
Yeah.
And we're always below. Like we can actually operate quite fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
Compared to the public schools. So we're pretty secure. But you're right. Maybe for a while I thought that might be a myth. So why can't we get 60, 75, 80%? But I keep hearing, be wary of that if we do get more with some of the resource, for example, the SOGI resource used in a public school,
right.
That is our choice to use it or not. Of course, in CISVA. We choose not to. We have our own human growth and development resource that we use with our schools in keeping with our teachings. So we certainly need to have something for our students. We're aware of that, but from a faith perspective.
Yeah.
So I'd agree. I think I went off a bit there, but definitely to that understanding that if we keep it at 50, it does afford us that opportunity.
Yes.
And yes, as a Group 1 school, we're evaluated. I mean, every 2 years we have a monitoring inspection. You probably know that.
Yeah.
And every 6 years, a full out, we call external. And they're absolutely looking that we are covering the K-12 BC curriculum.
Right.
But we can teach it from our faith perspective.
Yes. Yeah, we just went through that 6-year one.
Yes.
Andrea got tortured with that when she came in.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, every 2 years. I think within 6 years is only 2 years you would not have ministry looking into everything
Making
within your
sure
school.
That, we're doing it all, but you have to be able to show it all, and that's where all the work comes in, right? Yeah.
And I've actually heard that if we don't teach the curriculum from the faith perspective, then why do we exist? So that is something that we really need to continue to do.
Yeah, and to hang on.
Yeah,
to hang on to that. I know in Alberta, well, first of all, I believe you can divert your property taxes. You can say it can go to the Catholic school system or it can go to the public school system. You can choose, depending on where your kids are going to school, I would imagine. And there it is 100% funded, the operating. Yeah. I don't know if the infrastructure is there. Do you know?
I thought Capital was as well.
Wow.
But I guess we'll find out when Archbishop Smith arrives.
Yes, exactly.
I had a chance last Friday to chat. I mean, I was trying to capture everything about CISVA in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to learn because I've known from people who have come from Alberta, it's very much apples and oranges in terms of our structure, our governance and the funding and the way. We're actually very different from the rest of Canada. Maybe the Maritimes, like there are provinces who have lost the funding. Newfoundland,
really?
For one.
Lost all the funding?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have a school shortage like we do here.
Well, I
It'd
think
be suicide here for the government to do that, to take away all the funding.
I know.
And,
well, there's been certainly during my career the threat of that.
Yeah.
And I remember one. It seemed like it was a Good Friday. How appropriate the day that there was. It looked like our funding was just going to be well, maybe not entirely, but a good percentage of it. Yeah. And there was a massive letter writing campaign from parents, and definitely the math.
Yeah.
Like you say, there is a saving. You get to keep that money. And you don't have the children to educate. Right?
Exactly.
So it seems like a good deal to me.
Yeah, totally. And not only are we paying the tuition separately, as a parent, you're paying the tuition, which that's not, taxpayers not paying the tuition. There's a cost to run schools, whether it's public or private, doesn't matter.
Right.
There's a cost to run the schools, so it's got to be paid for. So you're saving that, and yet you're still paying your property taxes in the area.
Yeah.
That's going towards the public schools.
You ever thought of being a politician, Troy?
Well, it needs to be explained because people don't know this, right?
We need good people stepping up, leading our province, our country.
So that's something that, it has been a touchy subject. But you know what? And how you explain this to people quite often is it's one conversation at a time, because a lot of time, even when it's been online on Facebook where people are commenting, it's like, well, did you know? And they're like, I had no idea.
Well, and I've lost arguments. I mean, I've tried with friends who don't think independent schools should get any funding. That's fine. If you want to go off and have your own schools, pay for it. And then we talk about the 50%, the math.
Yeah.
But then the argument is, but you have the best parents. You have parents who really care about their kids, and they will pay that money. Yeah. And it's hard. Like I know when I was a principal, we had many, many of our families 2 jobs each to be able to afford the tuition, which has only grown really leaps and bounds. And that does frighten me for the future. Affordability, a lot.
Let's talk about that.
Affordability?
Yeah, because it's been a huge issue, like for us from day one, because when we started this model, I mean, this goes way back to us talking to Father Galvin when he was still at Star of the Sea, when we started this. He had said back then, he said, you got to come up with a different model because, we can't fund another school here on the old way, which is why we did this the way we did. He said, you got to, come up, and he gave us some suggestions, which we went with. But affordability was one of the things right out of the gate that we were talking about. And it's like, and there's a ditch on both sides of the road with it, because we looked at all the other independent schools, whether they were not faith-based or, other Christian schools that had been built in South Surrey area since Holy Cross had been built. Like, all these other schools had popped up and thriving, doing well, and we thought, we should have done this 30 years ago. Like, this should have been done a long time ago, because, our students from our elementary schools are ending up in another faith-based school or a secular school, just because there's no other place to go. So there's not another Catholic school close by, and Holy Cross was bursting at the seams, things such as that. So, but those other schools, independent schools, their tuitions were much higher. And it's like, well, why is this? Well, they don't have parishes funding them and topping things up and trying to keep things down. That was one of them. And it's like, it wasn't out of greed. It's just, this is how much it costs to run a school. It's not like, somebody's getting rich off of this. It's like, these are same thing. These are charitable organizations that are running a school, and not only just the cost of running the school on a month to month process, but planning for the future. So, and what I mean by that, you got to be able to put some money away for fixing the roof, doing an addition, or fixing the foundation, or updating the alarm system, or whatever it is, or seismically upgrading the school as needed, down the road. And what ends up happening is, when all these things are needed, are major renovations or a rebuild is needed, and a lot of the schools we don't have any money to do that. And that's because we've just been running on this, trying to keep the tuitions as low as possible. And there's a balance between the two. It's like, well, we need to plan for the future. And in order to plan for the future, we're all paying for that today, in terms of being able to put some money away. So there's this much for tuition, which mostly goes towards teacher salaries, what have you. And then there's this much, for upkeep in the building. And then there's this much for our future plans. And we have to have that in there. So I've argued that our tuitions were too low, especially in comparison to some of the other, independent schools.
Absolutely.
And now, that doesn't mean families get tossed aside. That's not our Catholic way of doing things. I quite often said we invented that term, social justice, as Catholics.
Yes.
So we don't want to leave anybody behind. So therefore, we have strong bursaries in place to help the families that can't either pay the whole tuition or sometimes can't pay any. And, we've been encouraging, we're going to have probably starting in September, we will have the highest tuition in BC in the Catholic school system, or right up there with the highest. And yet we're saying, if you can't afford it, or if you can't afford all of it, come anyway. Apply anyway. We want to have you. We don't want that to be, this deterrent. But it doesn't mean that the families that can afford to pay shouldn't pay. We can't do everything to the lowest common denominator. That would be free.
Well, sometimes there's the sliding scale.
Yes.
The conversation with the pastor, what can you afford?
Yes.
And I remember those conversations would happen with the pastor of my school, and for what duration, and because really to deny, a Catholic family their children to go to a Catholic school. I mean,
well, it's crazy, especially crazy when it's the Catholic community that built it, that paid for it.
Right.
And it's like, we paid for it. We've been, tithing constantly, whatever we can, but we can't go, because we can't afford it. It's like, well, no, that's not how it works here. But you do have to apply. You do have to, we have a system separate. It's Apple Financial. So it's an online, and it's, what do you call it? It's confidential. So, nobody's looking at it's an off-site program that's looking at your, financial situation, and they'll tell you. They tell us, yes, this family can afford or can't afford anything, or, should be able to afford 50% or something along those lines.
Definitely the future. I mean, one of our priorities is sustainability. So we're looking at personnel,
Yeah.
teacher shortage in the province.
Yeah.
Lots more teachers on letters of permission than we've ever seen before. Of course, we want good Catholic, good teacher
Yes.
added to it. Also, salaries to all of those things that go along with looking after your personnel and paying people fair wages. And then, of course, the infrastructure, as you said, where's that money going to come from? So definitely huge challenges ahead. Sitting here, don't have any answers, but we're going to figure it out together. I believe that. I'm positive about that. I know we have indicated some of our schools that need some help with that. We're having some meetings. The seismic is a big concern.
Yeah.
We all had a bit of a wake-up call on February 21st. I'm glad it was, the size of earthquake it was. But I think for people that might have been dragging their heels and thinking, well, we'll put it off for another day, that day is now, and we do need to look at that. There are rebuilding for sure would be lovely, but maybe some amalgamation, schools coming together and maybe looking at it that way.
For efficiency and just land value wise, right?
Yeah. I mean, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, where schools were close together, it took a long time to get from A to B.
Right.
Now, it doesn't, and maybe it doesn't make sense. We're saying not to build a single stream elementary, that in the future they should be double.
Yeah.
So do you have the population to sustain that? So
Right.
I feel myself, there's no more exciting time to be with our Catholic schools than there is right now.
Yeah.
And looking to the future and how we're going to resolve some of those challenges together.
Yeah. In some ways, I mean, for me, it might be my finite view of what I've been involved with for the last 10 years. You've been involved with it a lot longer than I have, obviously. And I'm not an educator. So I'm seeing it from a different side. And I'm seeing it a little bit from I'm seeing it from a parent side, of course, first. I'm seeing it from a bit of a marketing side, a business side. When I'm looking at it, I see it as, well, how do we make this great thing better? And I see a bit of a renaissance happening, if for lack of a better description, in terms of our Catholic school systems. Some changes, some adjustments. Teacher salaries, that's another thing that is being looked at right now. Can you enlighten us on that?
Well, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
So things are happening now because, for the future.
Yes.
So we'll see. I mean, we're very aware of what's happening. I mean, in BC, public school teachers, and we want the best people out there for our schools, for our students. And so definitely lots of conversations happening. We have what we call a forum where various stakeholders come together, teachers, principals, education committees, and pastors to talk about that. So they're doing that right now. And we'll just kind of wait and see where we end up. But definitely being talked about.
I would have liked to have been in that forum.
Yeah. A fly in the wall, right?
A fly in the wall, yeah, exactly. I probably would have input too. Yeah. I have a hard time keeping my mouth closed when it comes to stuff like that.
And you said something earlier. I mean, I really, the more Catholic education, the better. I think our family should grow. I don't want us just to survive. I want us to thrive.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of elephant in the room, and this part could be cut out. But I am concerned about our St. John Brebeuf and Abbotsford and the impact that a JP2 will have on that high school. So I'm certainly in lots of conversation with them.
Yeah.
I was actually out in Abbotsford the other day just to talk to the pastors in the deanery, and we can't open up one school at the expense of another. So
no, that'd be crazy.
I think there's room for all. It's just how that's going to sort itself out.
Exactly.
And, you talk about Holy Cross. There'll be a blessing very soon for their new addition.
Yeah.
Very excited to see what they have there with their classrooms, their new gym. Want to celebrate that for sure. As I drove by, your new school to be the other day, and it's like, wow, this is great. But we can't sacrifice one at the expense of another.
No.
So
and
maybe we're on different sides of the table here, but
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, because we got a call really early on, and I'm talking probably 10 years ago. It was like, what is St. John Paul? What are you guys doing there?
The location. I would like you closer to Ladner and Tawasin. But I did see Silveria at church one Sunday, and I think, well, Andrea also came, your principal, to talk to Sacred Heart. And this, if we can get 10 families, we'll give you a bus.
And we have a bus.
Did that work?
Yes, it did work. Yes, and we've got.
And I explained. I described myself as a mom. They went to St. Pat's. It took them an hour and a half, 2 buses and a walk.
Yep.
Probably, if there had been a JP2 Academy, it would have been another choice for us at that time.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's a good thing. I just, that is something that keep me awake at night.
Yeah, no. And I think this. I think if we can't, and this is my uneducated opinion or thought on this, so bear with me. I think, there's so many other independent schools that have opened up that are full.
Yes.
What are we not doing right in Abbotsford? Because I think the 3 schools now that we have in the Valley on this side of the Fraser, or that side of the Fraser.
Elementary, you mean?
No, just the high schools, the 3 high schools. They need to shore up each other. They have to put a name in Catholic education out in the Fraser Valley that this is the place to go to school, and we've got 3 at your, and we want to be able to support SJB as much as it takes away. Like the advertising and everything that we're doing right now, and the promotions that we're doing, is not just for our school; it's for Catholic education. Period. Hence this podcast as well.
Right. Which I like, and that's how you got me here, right?
Yeah,
if it was to come and promote JP2.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm promoting it in the sense of, yes, we want Catholic education to thrive in the Archdiocese.
Yes, of
But
course.
I am worried a bit with St. Catherine's and the tug-of-war, right? But I mean, to have a school 7 minutes down the street would be very tempting, for parents.
Yeah.
And I
know St. Catherine's a feeder school for SJB.
But we have to deal with the reality, and I'm excited about the future. I think we will be able to overcome and, like you say, be a bit of a magnet for Catholic education in the Fraser Valley, and just how, like, I'm hoping there'll be a whole bunch of Catholic parents out there watching this podcast.
Yeah.
And, from the bottom of my heart, as, again, a mother and a grandmother and a teacher, and to me, you want the best for your children, right? And the gift of Catholic education, there's nothing better. It just provides those roots, that foundation that I believe will carry them through life.
Yes. I couldn't agree more, which was kind of leading to our next thing. Why Catholic education? In your opinion, what?
Well, in keeping with, I mean, I know the stats. You were talking about challenges. Another one is evangelization.
Yes.
Right? And our families going to Mass on Sunday, or our students staying in the church after they graduate, whether it's grade 7, they've been confirmed, or after grade 12.
Yeah.
That's something I even had a conversation with a couple of people this morning. We have to continue looking at that, and what can we do differently.
Yeah.
The definition of insanity, to continue to do things the same way and expect different results.
Yep.
So it almost feels like, we're in this box and we're trying to figure it out, and there's just something out there. And to me, we'll get there together, and certainly with the Holy Spirit. It's just feels elusive that if I just reach a little bit further, we'll find it, and, we'll all be better because of it. So I just, it's a challenge. I hear, over and over, I go to various deanery meetings, and other, families aren't going to church.
Yeah.
And it just, okay, now what? What are we going to do, Father?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's us together. And I used to talk about a connection between a school and a parish. I will never use that word again, connection. And I just said it now. Because we are in the parish.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to connect a school with a parish. No. The school is part of a parish. And even if that's a group of parishes.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. So it's not just one school, one parish. Yeah. It's more of that, and maybe get away from that one school, one parish, and look at it more as a group of parishes, like a family of parishes is looking after those schools together. Because we have 77 parishes in the RCAV, but basically 46 schools. So how can we all support Catholic education in the Archdiocese?
Yeah, that's right.
So just think about ways to do that.
and not every parish has an elementary school.
Right.
And I look back on, I went to St. Thomas More in Burnaby, grew up in White Rock and commuted to St. Thomas More. Went to a public elementary school, which the difference between public elementary schools and our Catholic elementary schools, I think, are vastly different. Mind you, there wasn't even one in White Rock when I grew up, so I didn't really have that option either. But I look back now on the education I got at STM. I value that way more today than I did at that time. And I see that, wow, there was a lot of great foundational things that were instilled in me. And even afterwards, even if I would have faded away or not realized it for a while, but then you know what, when my wife and I had kids, we had our first, it was like, there was no doubt.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're okay, which Catholic elementary school is he going to go to? So we ended up moving. We were in Vancouver at the time. We moved back to White Rock. So, and then it was right after that, you know, our oldest daughter's in elementary school, in kindergarten. And it was right after that were like going, okay, where's she going to go to high school? You know, we started thinking that right away. And if Catholic schools don't keep people in the faith, I think they help bring people back to the faith and revert back to the faith. Because especially when they're off, they get married, you know, maybe during college or something, people may wander and think, you know, and we're leading this selfish, narcissistic life. And then also you have kids and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Now we got to start thinking about our little ones. And some of these things all of a sudden become important again. And then you start realizing and you start reverting back to your faith. And then we've got them in the school. And then you had, like you said, a lot of them are still not going to church. It's kind of up to us as a parish to start bringing people back and having our parishes and our schools more of a community and building on that. It's tough to do. It's easy to say. It's tough to do, but it starts with one thing at a time. And if we don't do that, because our schools should be helping build the parishes, they shouldn't be a drain on the parish.
No, I think it is the future of the Archdiocese, but then I'm biased. I mean, I once heard a great story. Like, if this glass was full of dirty water, it's clean, Troy. You wouldn't give me dirty water.
Yes.
If you weren't allowed to dump it out, how would you clean the water? And the answer was you just continue to pour clean water into that glass. And eventually, maybe it'll never be 100% clean. But I think, you know, it's Jesus and the woman at the well, like the living water. And if we continue to add that, great prep programs, you know, a couple hours a week are great for kids in the public system. And I would encourage that. But to have a child in that in that environment of Jesus is the reason, from Monday to Friday, from 9 to 3, I mean, it's got to do something. One thing also I found out with this job, I said, I feel like a principal again. I'm also having more time to be in schools than ever before. So Wednesday, I was in Blessed Sacrament in the morning. Shout out to Blessed Sacrament, and Cloverdale in the afternoon. And it just reminded me why we exist, just to see the students go from classroom to classroom and just see them in that environment, a faith-based environment. I'm like, those parents have these kids in the right place. And we don't wake up in the morning with, I want my kids to be miserable and have a horrible life and not be happy. We want the best for our children. And, you know, and you got to pay for it.
You do.
I wish it could
But, you know, I look, my parents made sacrifices for me as well, and for my brother and sister. I was the Catholic educated ones. They kind of went through early. I have an older brother and sister, and they went through the system earlier than I did, and it wasn't. I guess it wasn't seen as quite as important, mind you. They weren't where we were growing up. We didn't have any Catholic schools, so I got to benefit. And is there a difference? I'm looking at my brother and sister. Is there a difference between me and them? I don't. They're wonderful people, and we all have our own faith journey that we're going on as well. But and you know, being involved with our new Catholic high school has been a real renewal of my faith. You know, just with surrounding myself with more people with the same goals, the same intentions, with and the same views towards Catholic education. And it's been a real rebirth for me too, which is positive.
Yeah.
And in our parish, we've seen quite a boom recently, and in Star of the Sea, the elementary school, massive demand there.
Well, I that's because people will say do more marketing.
Yeah.
And the danger of that is, I would say many of our schools have waiting lists.
Yeah.
So you do all that advertising, they go, and I'm sorry, there's no room.
Yeah.
And that's very disheartening.
It is.
I mean, we do have schools that need more enrollment, and hopefully they're directed there when you go to a school that has a wait list, that there is a Catholic school maybe 15 minutes away that has room. So it's,
Yes. What I would hope as well is that our new school being located where it is, close to St. Catherine's, which is single stream. I don't want to say it's not. It's a beautiful community that they've got,
and
there
it's
too.
full, by the way,
and it's full
with a wait list. Yes.
So it would be great to see that school double stream one day, and growing. Just due to that demand, because people will see, okay, well, hey, there's a path from here to here, and same thing for Cloverdale Catholic. I know it's a real old building too. And
well, that's where I was. Actually, it was yesterday, and they got a lot of land.
Yes.
I was looking at all the land.
So that's fantastic. So one day a new school, and once again, if families see a path, it's like, well, they can go here, they can go to Holy Cross, they can go to SJB, or they can go to our school. There's options there.
Yeah.
I think our elementary schools can.
Well, you don't have to sell me.
No.
It's of
course not.
Definitely the hope of the future.
Let's talk about teachers for a second, if we would.
Yes.
There's a shortage.
Yes. Definitely.
In both public and private,
across the board. Yes.
And I know one of the challenges that we have is our tuitions on the CISVA pay scale. They're a little bit less than the public schools. Yeah,
we're trying to get back to that. I think by next year we're kind of going back to the 95% that had been established by Archbishop Exner many years ago, and we were falling behind, and I think with this year and next year could get us back to that place close again.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Which is important.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We won't get into, is it about salary or not about salary? I mean, we know we live probably the highest cost of living anywhere in Canada. And that's just to live somewhere and buy food and look, it's very difficult. Yeah. People make sacrifices. Yeah. And we know, our teachers really step up. I mean, when our new teachers come in, they take a Foundations of the Catholic Faith course, also do a retreat called to be teacher. So we really do look at it as a calling.
Right. So that's kind of the philosophy behind the 95% and not 100%, say, for instance, in comparison, is that we're asking for a sacrifice, and we're asking for this to be a calling. And if it's not, it's not, so to speak.
I don't know if it's that, black and white. Yeah. That way, that's sort of the way it sat from a meeting a long time ago. And then to this day, it's, and again, that's being looked at right now, where we go in the future is still unknown. But we do know that, Catholic social teaching, fair wage. Yeah.
That's right. That's the other
difficult
side.
to live in and around Vancouver, and
it is, definitely.
People Catholic, have children and look after your children, and it's.
And we have, I know, we've come across teachers before too, that said, "I'd love to teach in the Catholic system, but I can't take that pay." We're already struggling. Yeah.
So there's definitely a tension there. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Well, it's a question. Yeah, it's a very honest question, and because it gets asked a lot. Yeah. And it's one of those things. It's like, okay, well, we have to see. And I know the pension is different. I think
it's not a defined according to your salary, so it wouldn't be like 80% of your best 5 years. It's indexed, I believe, is the terminology. So, from my understanding, our younger starting out teachers, by the time they get to a retirement age, it's pretty comparable.
Right.
Number-wise, a defined versus an index, but
Right.
that's...
I was talking to Nick.
we have somebody else in the office you could ask about that.
I was talking to Nick Schneider about that, and he's the
exactly.
one saying, well, it's outperforming any of the public ones as well.
So he's,
Yeah.
and we have a great leadership team in the office. I mean,
do.
you're talking to me, but, I mean, we have an office of 17 people for our 46 schools. So we're very decentralized.
Yeah.
With some centralization. And I always think there's, a bit of a tension there between the two. And, we try to get the balance right. And sometimes it goes one way or the other. And that isn't good. But, I was saying to our new Archbishop, sometimes our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness.
Yeah.
So it's, just that
Yep.
tension.
Well, I'm from our school's behalf, I'm so proud to just be affiliated with the CISVA, and I know we rely on everything you guys do here
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah. Well, I feel originally you were kind of conceived,
Yeah.
so to speak,
Yes.
within the CISVA
Yes.
to get your start, and
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
as a separate society. Would you be a society
Yeah,
as
we're
well?
a society. Well, we have two. There's two.
foundation and a society.
So
Yeah.
and it's set up. So the society is in charge of running the school.
Right.
So and the foundation is completely separate, and it is the building.
Right.
And the society is a tenant in the building. So it's set up that way, sort of to separate governance.
Right.
And governance roles.
Right.
And then of course, the Archdiocese had the land. So, and has helped out also with the structure of the building. So it's a different financial structure, little different governance structure, but the society is as CISVA is really as we can get it, in terms of how it's operated. And
So
run.
when we have the affiliate meeting,
Yes.
which is April something, do you come with you'll be part of that meeting, or?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine, yes.
So we've got a date for that.
Because it affects both entities.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
and I did attend your graduation last year. It was
yes,
lovely.
I know. You graced us with your presence.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Yeah.
It was, there's something about small
Yes,
that
there is.
lovely. And I know when you grow, there's something that, you lose. But just, again, to get a start like that and just...
The kids that started it, because right now we have 75 or 73 or something like that kids in the school. There's only 9 graduating this year.
Wow.
It's going to be our smallest graduating class. But what a special group.
Yeah. Now, is your daughter this year?
Next year.
Next year.
So she'll be the first one to graduate, first class to graduate from the new campus.
Oh, okay.
So
you're still thinking September 2025?
Oh, yeah, it has to be. Yeah,
Okay.
we've burnt the ships.
Okay, well,
we'll be
I'll
open.
be there for the blessing.
There might be some construction dust still floating around when we're open there in
Okay,
September.
well, that's
but
exciting.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, Sandy, this has been fantastic. Thank you.
Is it over already?
No, well, we can keep going. I've got some time still.
I was hoping half an hour, Troy. It's amazing how time flies.
It does.
When you're having fun.
Yes, absolutely. Keep up the great work, Sandra.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate everything that you do and what's done in CISVA. It's a big job. It's a big task. It's a lot of schools to oversee. So, but you guys are doing fantastic. If coming from me, whatever that's worth.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's worth a lot.
It's appreciated. So, all right.
Well, thank you.
And thanks everybody for joining us again here this afternoon for Catholic Education Matters. And be sure to like, subscribe, and we're on. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, and of course on YouTube as well. So spread the word and share this with your friends. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for listening to Catholic Education Matters. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the podcast on your favorite listening platform, rate it, and also leave a review. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends and family to help spread the word about the impact of Catholic education. Be sure to listen again.